Good morning, graphic designers. Welcome to Lesson 9 of Inkscape, where we are going to take most everything that we have learned so far in the first 7-8 lessons, and we are going to apply it in this instance. We are going to take a peek at the Bezier tool, the layering tools, the nodes. All of it's going to come together, including text. Today, we are going to build a playing card. Now, if any of you have ever played cards with your friends, be it euchre or poker or rummy, you've probably held one of these in your hands. We are going to build an ace of diamonds, and we are going to build a very plain version of the ace of diamonds. But first we need to have an understanding of what a playing card, ace of diamonds, looks like. Well, first of all, it is rectangular in shape. It is taller than it is wide, so this is the top and this is the bottom. It has rounded corners. Why rounded corners? Because when you throw a playing card to somebody, if those corners were pointy, they might catch on the tabletop, especially in a professional casino where the tabletops are cloth, and they might flip over by accident. So rectangular, rounded corners. It has an A on it if it is an ace, representing the numerical value. Ace is the highest card. And it also carries the symbol for the suit that it is in. In this case, diamonds. There are 4 standard suits: clubs, hearts, diamonds, and spades. I chose diamond because it is the simplest of the symbols to recreate with our Bezier tool. So it's got a symbol in the middle of its face representing the numerical value. An ace has 1 diamond in the middle. A 2 of diamonds would have 2 diamonds in the middle. 3 of diamonds would have 3 diamonds in the middle. And it also has a smaller version directly under the A. Notice the A is upright in the upper left corner and upside down in the lower right corner. That is because when you throw somebody a card and they pick it up, we want it to be able to be right side up regardless of whether they make this end the top or that end the top. So we're going to create an ace of diamonds, and it's going to help us learn an awful lot about the tools that we've studied so far in Inkscape. So we'll go back to our work area. We'll go grab our rectangle tool. We'll click and drag and we'll make a rectangle. Now, first and foremost, the color. The face of your diamond is white, and obviously the A and the other diamond symbols are red because that matches the color of the suit. Alright, so we will color our playing card white, set the fill to white. Got to select the object first. Right mouse click, set fill, and we'll set our stroke outline to black. Alright, so we have a rectangle, white and black. And make sure it's white and not transparent. Remember, if we set something to being transparent, then it's see-through. And that's a problem, especially when we start making more than one card. So set that inside to white, not transparent. It's called the fill. Next up, what is the size of our playing card? Well, again, off to the internet to check that out. I googled dimensions of a standard playing card, and it turns out that it's 2.5 inches by 3 inches, or 64 millimeters by 89 millimeters. Alright, so 64 by 89. I go up and I make sure I am on millimeters, and you guys know where to go to set your width and your height. 64 wide, and you can make it perfect because you have that power. By 89 tall. Okay, that's the size it needs to be. I'm going to build this playing card off my printed page, and then when I'm done building it, I'm going to drag it onto the printed page the way I submit all of my work. What's on the printed page is what will be marked. Anything built off on the side will be ignored. So I have created my playing card in the proper size. I'm going to zoom in on it by holding the control button on my keyboard and rolling my red roller ball in the middle of my mouse. That way I can get close to the playing card without changing its dimensions. I don't want to make the playing card bigger, I just want to be zoomed in further. Now, that outline or stroke looks a little abnormally large, and I'm going to go back to my picture of my playing card, and I'm going to get an idea of what size it is. For today's lesson, I don't care what size you set it at, but it needs to be something that's a little more visually coherent to this 64 by 89 millimeter size. So I'm going to go down and play with the stroke. I'm going to select my card, go down. I'm going to try a stroke of 1. Not bad. I'm going to try a stroke of 0.5. Not bad. I'm going to try a stroke of 0.25. Not bad. 0.1. Oh, it looks a little too small to me. Okay, 0.25 is the stroke I want you to set for your playing card, because at 64 by 89 millimeters, that actually looks pretty good. Do I want to go down all the way to 0.1? I suppose I could. It doesn't look bad. So for this assignment, your choice, 0.1 or 0.25, but nothing larger than that. Next up, I go back and look at my playing cards, and of course I talked about it having rounded corners, and that is because you don't want the playing card catching the edges of the fabric table and flipping over. Okay, that would be terrible. So we need to round these corners. How do you round the corners of a playing card? Well, you've got a couple of choices. Here's the one I prefer. I prefer this Edit Paths by Nodes tool, and when you click on it, you know that you get up the nodes that make up the shape, and you can move those nodes. But in the upper right corner, there is a circle symbol. And if you go grab that circle symbol by left mouse clicking and holding, and you drag it downward, you can round the corners of a square, not of an object you build with Bezier, okay, but of a square, of a rectangle. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to round those corners just a bit. And I'll unclick, and that looks better. Okay, so we are getting there. We are getting there. Next, I'm going to go in and grab my text tool. And I'm going to click and I'm going to type a capital letter A. Now I'm going to take that capital letter A and I'm going to size it so it looks appropriate. I'm going to go back to my example. Okay, the letter A is down from the top. There's some space above it, and there's some space to the left of it. Remember, not everyone is going to give you every answer to every question. You have to do the research. So I'm going to put my letter A just about there, trying my best to mimic what I see here in this example. Now, if you wanted to get really fancy, you could go in and choose a specific font style for A, but I'm just going with this plain block style letter A that you see right there. The letter A needs to be colored red, so just like any other object in Inkscape, select it, right mouse click, and tell it to fill with red. Want to color the stroke? Well, let's go take a look. How's it going to look with a stroke that's black? Well, that's clearly too large of a stroke. And yet, we can go in and we can adjust it. So we'll go in and we'll change our stroke to 0.1. Okay, that looks nicer. 0.1. Close that dialog box. So I've got a stroke of 0.25 on the outer edge of the card. I've got a stroke of 0.1 on the letter A. Back to my example. There is an A in the upper corner, there is an A in the lower corner, and it's upside down. So I need to make a second A. But anytime you build something in Inkscape, don't bother rebuilding another version of it in case that version is slightly off. Just select that version, right mouse click, and duplicate. Now you've got two A's that are identical to each other. Drag that one down to the bottom. Double click on your letter, and every time you double click, you've got the ability to bring up your rotation tool. Rotate that bottom letter A such that the bottom feet line up exactly with that dotted line. And that's how you'll know it's straight. There we go. A in the upper corner, A in the bottom corner. Going back down, I need a large diamond in the middle, and I need two smaller diamonds directly below the letter A's. Maybe I'll go borrow something off the internet that I can use to trace my letter A. So I'm kind of liking this one. It's transparent. It doesn't have to be transparent. So I'm going to go grab that one. I'm going to drop my Inkscape down to the taskbar. I'm going to grab my letter A, my playing card. I'm going to drag it over and drop it on my desktop. And remember, if you can see the image on your desktop, then you can import it into Inkscape. I'm going to drag it down, hover over the Inkscape icon. The Inkscape icon will pop up. I'll bring the symbol up. I'll let go of my left mouse button. I'll click OK, and the symbol comes into Inkscape. Now, the symbol's a bit larger, so I need to resize. Oh, wait a second. Maybe I can go up here and tell it to be exactly 64 by 89. Thank goodness I can. This is all about how we build very precise measurements into our work. So that's pretty good. Now I've got an example that I can use. There's the example. Not looking too bad at all. I'm going to trace my diamond. I'm going to go in, I'm going to grab the Bezier tool, and I'm going to click, 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 click. Now I've got a diamond, and I've got it the proper size. Do you want to have that beautiful slight curve to it? Well, not a problem if that's what you really want. Go in, select your diamond, smooth your corners, and you're going to get up the handles that will allow you to click and drag and match that beautiful curve. Okay, but every curve affects every other curve coming in and out of that endpoint. So it's actually going to be a little difficult. I'm going to teach that in a different lesson. So I'm going to edit, undo, until I get all the way back to what I originally had. There we go. I'll just stay with a straight diamond that is the proper size. Make sure that the stroke of your diamond is set to the same stroke as your letter A, 0.1. Make sure you color the fill red. And then drag your diamond over the one you created and stick it in the middle of your playing card. I need two more diamonds, a tiny one under each of the A's. So rather than rebuild this, I'm just going to right mouse click and duplicate. I'm going to take my copy of the diamond, I'm going to shrink it down, I'm going to find an appropriate size, I'm going to go match it perhaps to the one example that I've got. I can zoom in if I want to. Put them one on top of another. There you go. Now I can stretch it out, stretch it over. I can be pretty confident that I've got the right size when I use a template as a guide. Now I'll slide it over, stick it under my A. Remember, if you're struggling moving things around, zoom in. Inkscape will give you far more precision when you zoom in. Duplicate this smaller one so that I don't accidentally make it incorrectly. Place it down here at the bottom. Zoom in. Make sure I try and line it up correctly in the middle. And zoom out. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to select all the objects and I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to group them so that I can now move them around as one object without the pieces falling apart. And I slide it over and I put it on my printable page. here's your job, folks. Make me a poker hand. Make me 4 aces and 1 deuce. Remember, the 4 standard playing card suits, in case you're not a card player. Playing card suits is hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs. So in order to create 4 aces and a deuce, you are going to have to make an ace of diamonds, an ace of spades, an ace of hearts, an ace of clubs, and then make me a 2 or a deuce of any suit you want. Diamond will be the easiest because you've already got a diamond. But sir, that's so much work. Is it? All I got to do is duplicate my ace of diamonds, slide it over here, right mouse click, ungroup it, delete the letter A, and instead put in a 2. Again, I've got to adjust the size. So I'm going to take that 2, I'm going to drag it over to my ace. I'm going to get the proper size for my ace, or my letter A. I'm going to match that size with the 2. That looks good. I'm going to color the 2 red, or fill its set its fill. I'm going to give it a black stroke. I'm going to make sure its stroke is 0.1. I'm going to put that 2 up where the A is. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to drag the copy down to the bottom. I'm going to double click on it and rotate it until the 2 is flat against that broken line. That's how I know I'm straight. I'm going to reposition it to make sure it's pretty much in the middle. I'm going to reposition the one at the top. And I'm done. It's not a lot of work, especially in a graphic design program group where it's always waiting to help me. And remember, the ace of diamonds was created first, so it's the lowest on our scale. So therefore, it's under the 2 of diamonds. Well, that's okay. Create a layer called 2 of diamonds. Drop-down menu, layer, layers. Create a layer called ace of diamonds. Create another layer called 2 of diamonds. Move the 2 of diamonds to the 2 of diamonds layer. And now they are on separate layers, and if you want to, you can actually move them up and down and put either one on top of the other. It's just that easy. Your job, make me a poker hand. 5 cards, 4 aces, 1 deuce. This will be for marks. I will be judging your precision, your layout. The last thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to splay these like a poker hand. Splay means to slightly rotate them so that they look like you are holding them in your hand as a poker hand. So you're going to have 5 cards, and they're all going to be slightly turned, and they're going to create a semi-circular splay. It's called a splay of a poker hand. That's how you would hold 2 cards in your hand, if you could. So, using all 5 cards, do a semi-circular splay. That's your job for today. Have fun with it. It should be fun.